welcome to the Parks and Rec Commission meeting for today, March 4th. I'd like to call the meeting to order and have a roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Begor?
Yes.
Commissioner Tombe?
Present.
Commissioner Kumarapan? Vice Chair Chu?
Here.
And Chair Stanek?
Here. Thank you. Moving on to approval of the minutes. Are there any questions about the minutes? Do I have a motion?
I did have one change to make. In the minutes when I did my report, I wanted to add, and I looked over it as well. I wanted to add, I had actually said that I want to ensure that this is included in the minutes, that I think that the office hours are really important and that they should be continuing. That was left out of the minutes. So I just wanted to make sure that that was included in what I had said during the during my update.
Okay, do I have a motion for the minutes?
I can go ahead and make the motion. I'll move to approve the minutes with the friendly amendment.
I second it.
Any discussion? Okay, should we have a vote?
Commissioner Begor?
Yes.
Commissioner Tombe?
Yes.
Commissioner Kumarapan?
Yes.
Vice Chair Chu?
Yes.
And Chair Stanek?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Moving on with the agenda for postponements, of which there are none. The next item is oral communications. This is a portion of the meeting reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes in most cases. State law prohibits the commission from making any decisions with respect to a matter not on the agenda. So I will look to see if there are any hands from our participants who would wish to speak with oral communications. We do have a lot of attendees tonight, so I welcome all the attendees. Good to see you all. Not seeing any hands for oral communications, let's move on. With written communications, old business, there is none. Tonight, new business, item number 2 is the review of the fiscal year 2021 and 2022 community funding grant applications and presentation on the commissioner evaluation process. I'll hand it over to staff.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Joanne McGreeny, the Director of Parks and Recreation, and wanted to introduce tonight Rochelle Sander, who is a Recreation Supervisor, and Whitney Zeller, who is an Administrative Assistant for the Parks and Recreation Department, to review the fiscal year 2021-22 community funding grant applications and presentation on the Commissioner evaluation process. So without further ado, we're in for a little bit of a long evening. I will turn it right over to Rochelle to start us off.
Good evening, everyone. For added transparency, I need to begin by asking if any of the commissioners have affiliations with any of the applicant organizations. Please let us know now, because it may mean that you need to recuse yourself from the evaluation process.
Hey, Rachel, this is Gopal. I do have an affiliation with one of the applicants. That's Cupertino Library Foundation, so I will recuse myself from it.
Thank you.
I participated in a poly program about 10 years ago. That's it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So tonight's meeting on community funding is for the applicant organizations to share their specific information about their funding requests and for commissioners to ask clarifying questions. Final eligibility and evaluation discussion between commissioners will happen at the April Parks and Recreation meeting. Whitney and I will be coordinating the presentation logistics for this evening. Tonight's process will include new applicants presenting first, with the returning applicants after. Applicants will have 3 minutes to share their specific funding request information. Commissioners will then be able to ask clarifying questions. We are estimating a maximum of 10 minutes per organization. Each slide has a brief overview of the organization's request and eligibility. An eligibility pending indicates that the commission needs to review the information for further consideration. Final eligibility will be up to the commission in their April meeting. Specifics of each organization's current eligibility can be found in the eligibility criteria forms in attachment C. I would like to begin by introducing Valco Robotics, who's requesting funding for a mini robot competition.
Okay, I believe we're promoting the representative from Valkyrie if they would like to.
I see Marcus has raised his hand. Is that the representative for this organization?
Is Marcus and Ashwin, yes.
There we go.
Sorry, I'm just having one issue promoting them. If the representatives would like to begin.
I believe Marcus is here, if not joining. I believe Marcus has not been promoted.
I think we should have received that option too.
There we go. Okay. Are we good to begin? Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time and for the generous consideration you've given our proposal. I'm Marcus Platowski, the Executive Director of Valco Robotics. Valkyrie is an educational 501c3 nonprofit which was, until recently, based in the Oak Shopping Center. Since we were founded in 2016 in Cupertino, we've offered a variety of charitable programs in the fields of STEM, including but not limited to summer camps, tutoring, and extracurricular robotics clubs. From getting students ready for college to inspiring them to learn how to code, Valkyrie constantly seeks to pursue the ideals of our mission, preparing the students of today with the skills necessary for the industries of tomorrow. Today's proposal comes from one of our competitive robotics organizations, First Robotics Team 299. The students on this team want to help give back to the local community in Cupertino, especially around the schools of Monte Vista High School, Cupertino High School, Kennedy Middle School, and Cupertino Middle School, where the majority of the students are based, by using the skills and experiences that they've acquired through their years on the team and in other organizations, to help students less fortunate than themselves, who perhaps didn't have all the same opportunities that they did to get ahead in coding. To get into the details of the Arduino project that they proposed, I will be handing it over to Team 299 Student President of Business Operations, Ashwin Rajesh, to tell you all a little bit more about what they have in mind.
Thank you, Marcus. Hello, everyone. I'm Ashwin. As Marcus said, I'm the President of Business Operations of Valco Robotics Team 299. I'm also a senior at Cupertino High School. So to introduce the mini robot competition, the primary goal of this project is to provide a high quality robotics and engineering experience to students across Cupertino during the COVID-19 pandemic. This project, which will be free of cost to all participants, will involve teams of 3 to 4 Cupertino students tasked with designing, manufacturing, wiring, and coding a robot that completes tasks, as part of a central challenge presented to them during the project kickoff. And the project will take place over the course of 2 months, starting in July. The project involves 4 main divisions of engineering. The first one, which is design. Students will be using SolidWorks, which is a design platform which students can use to design their robots. For the mechanical portion of the robot, students will be primarily using 3D printing to print their parts. For the electrical portion of the project, students will be using the Arduino microcontroller, as well as other electrical components that we will provide to them. And for coding, they will use the Arduino IDE, which is a coding platform that all students can use to write code and upload code to their robots to program their robots to do a variety of things. These specific tools and supplies have been chosen to emphasize safety during the pandemic and to make sure that all of these resources are available for students to use and to minimize students interacting with each other as much as possible and making sure that they can meet virtually and safely. We would also like to emphasize that this project is inclusive of all students, regardless of socioeconomic background, also including underprivileged students who may not have these opportunities offered to them at their own schools, especially during the current pandemic. We are also running a test. We are performing a test run with the students on our own team, Valco Robotics Team 299, and we'd like to report that it is going very well so far. We would also like to say that we have mentors on hand, mentors with more than 20 years of combined robotics experience, who will be overseeing this project and making sure everything runs smoothly. As for the specific fund,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but 3 minutes per group, and I'm sorry we have to move on. I apologize, but turning it back over to the chair.
Okay, there we go. Now I can see anything. So next we're going to go to any clarifying questions from commissioners, and just please note that we have limited time. So if you have questions about their project, please raise your hand now. And I see, trying to see who has their hand up.
It's me.
Oh, there it is, Nisha. Go ahead.
So I had 2 questions. One is, what was, you had mentioned that there are some students who didn't have access and that these students were within, I just wanted to verify again that these students that you're referring to are within Cupertino, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And according to your application, there'll be 40 people who will benefit from this that are Cupertino residents. What percentage of those 40 are either women or gender non-binary?
We've actually been looking to make that one of the primary focuses of this. Valco Robotics does have supporting women in STEM, especially, as one of our main goals, and so we'd be looking to have a minimum of 50% falling into the females category, and then in addition, there may be additional students who are indeed gender non-binary to bring that up further.
Great, so the goal is to have 20 out of those 40?
At a minimum, yes.
Great, thank you.
I'm looking for anyone else with questions. I'll ask a question. So how do you identify students who have a particular financial need?
So one of the big qualifiers that we do use is students who are on federal meal aid plans, so they are, getting subsidized school lunches, and that's a really big qualifier for us, like when we're giving out scholarships for our events, and in this case, determining financial need. Moreover, we do also rely on, to an extent, self-reported numbers, and while that is obviously, dependent on, sort of trust in a sense, our organization has noticed that that has been effective at, being able to work with students who would otherwise fall through the cracks, or who might not obviously fall into these sort of categories that you might expect. And that largely, just from sort of doing double checks on this, students who do self-report as financially in need tend to almost always be legitimately in need.
So do you do outreach to those students in particular?
Yes, that is one of the things that our organization across all of our programs does attempt to do. We offer, first of all, like subsidized and discounted, as well as free of cost waivers for our programs, including our summer camps and our various robotics and tutoring programs. But beyond that, we also do attempt to reach out directly to students who are less fortunate. We'll have some of our organizations do demonstrations of the things that they've learned and built, and try to get, in contact with these students, especially at a young age when they're more impressionable and, able to sort of be, get the impression of, what it means to be in engineering or be an engineer or anything like that. A lot of that does happen outside of the Cupertino city boundaries, of course, as we will, sort of go further afield to, service students who don't have as many of these opportunities. But many of our demonstrations and charitable programs do also occur within the city of Cupertino. These will happen at fairs, things like Boy Scout events, etc. as well.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, do you have any other questions? I don't see any other hands at this time. Well, thank you very much. That's just about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, next I would like to introduce Tian Hong Foundation, who is requesting funding for a youth art contest.
Have you promoted their speaker? Do you know who their speaker is?
We have, it's Marcus.
Oh, there we go.
Promoted.
There you go. Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
I'm
you.
sorry, Susan.
Well, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Susan Shi. I'm the CFO and COO of Tian Hong Foundation. First of all, I really want to thank everybody for giving us this opportunity. It's our first time to participate in this program. So Tian Hong Foundation is a nonprofit private operating foundation that was established in California in 2011. And our mission is to facilitate cross-cultural arts exchange, as well as communication education across the broader community. And our programs aim to improve public health, happiness, as well as appreciation of arts, basically, from different cultural backgrounds. And our activities include free public seminars that promote art appreciation from different cultural backgrounds. And also we sponsor and co-manage dance performance shows and offer free tickets to the multicultural audience in the Bay Area. So we have been hosting this youth art contest for the community for 3 years now. So 2021 will be the 4th year that we host this youth art contest. Basically, we have a main theme every year, and we ask young participants, basically age 21 or under, to submit original artworks that capture or manifest the main theme that we ask for. And they will be evaluated based on their creativity, their originality, as well as their artistic technique. And by the end of the day, the winners will be selected and cash awards will be given out. So in 2020, we had a huge success by having almost 100 participants and more than 130 artworks submitted. And we've the main theme was also right on time, based, the pandemic time frame. So the main theme is about love, hope, and collective humanity. So we're just amazed by the quality of artworks that have been submitted and the passion that we've seen in the young generation. So in 2021, the main theme will be nature and me. So basically, the artists will be asked to depict the beautiful nature, as well as to think about the relationship between nature and the artist. So again, artworks will be evaluated and awards will be given out. So based on the expected number of participants as well as artworks, we also plan to expand the number of awards we're going to give out. So we have two age groups, age group 4 to 12, 13 to 21. And we're also going to set up some special awards, including most creative, most unique, artistic, most cultural influence, etc., etc. So the total award pool, just for the cash award, we expect to give out is about $6,000, of which we hope we're going to get 50% support from the City of Cupertino. Of all the awards, we're going to also have some City of Cupertino special awards.
I'm sorry, Susan, you're at the 3 minutes. My apologies.
No problem. No problem. That's pretty much about it, actually. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Oh, Nisha.
It's always me.
No, go ahead. We've only got 4 of us asking questions tonight. So.
All right. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. I appreciate having you come. The artwork was great. So my question, I had 2 questions. You mentioned that the 3,000 would be specifically designated to Cupertino residents. I'm wondering how will that functionally work? Is it going to be separate awards for Cupertino residents, or just the allocation from the budget is estimated to be $3,000?
Susan, you're still muted.
There you go. Okay.
There you go.
So that's an estimation. So really based on the participants we're going to get from Cupertino versus other cities in the community. So last year we got artists, participating from all around California, actually, but with 80% in the Bay Area. And because Tianhong Foundation is actually located in Cupertino, so we definitely do expect to get quite some participation in the city. We also expect to host the in-person kind of reception towards the end of the year. Hopefully we can do it right this year in Cupertino. So, and I think it will be, hopefully it will be a win-win, right? So for, City of Cupertino to really leverage this venue that we have to raise awareness in the young generation for this Green Earth initiative, and also for us to get your support to get more participation and better influence in the local community as well. So to answer your question, the 3,000 is definitely an estimation, but we will be setting some specific City of Cupertino special awards in the award structure to specifically, help participants be very incentivized to really participate and contribute.
Great. So my kind of follow-up question to that,
Nisha, can I just interrupt so that we can get Sashi to be able to ask a question here? Thank you. Because due to our limited time, sorry. If we have time, we'll come back to you. Commissioner Begor.
So quickly, do you have any idea of how many people from Cupertino participated last time?
That's a great question. I can actually look up that for you. What I can roughly remember is 80% of participants from kind of the Bay Area, and then there, students from Fremont, there are students from Cupertino, San Jose, et cetera, but my estimate would be 20%, maybe 10-20%. So when we did the marketing last year, we didn't specifically target Cupertino, right? So it's just love, hope, and collective humanity, right? No matter where you're from. So, and I think this year, if we join force to promote this Green Earth initiative, we can put more emphasis really to depict our local city we all love. And I would be confident that the participation in this city will increase year over year.
Okay, thank you. See if we can get a question in from Commissioner Hsu. We have about 2 minutes left.
Oh, thank you for the presentation. And I have a question, and that you mentioned you're asking for the community funding, so you may hire one additional counselor. I want to know, so could you be more specific about what the counselor is going to do? Yeah, thanks.
What do you mean by counselor?
In your application, that said, if you got the grant, that may allow you to hire one additional counselor if you got the funding. I
think that's the next one.
You be more specific.
I think you're on the other one. This one is they're asking for money for prizes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's 50% of the cash awards. Basically, it's all going to go out to the young artists. 100%.
Okay, so just to make sure we're all in the same place, we're in the Tian Hong Foundation.
Correct.
Yeah, sorry about the wrong page.
No problem.
Okay. Commissioner Tambe, did you have a follow-up question?
I did. So again, mission is really great. I just wanted, if we approve this, the way the grant funding is going in, the $3,000 is allocated specifically to Cupertino residents. If, for whatever reason, there's fewer than anticipated, that funding would then be returned to the city should we approve this. That's actually, I guess, more of a question for either Rachel or Director Magrini.
It seems like it's a question of how the prizes would be managed. So I guess I would ask Susan that.
So from a Tian Hong Foundation perspective, prizes will be given out to outstanding artworks. So we will set up the 2 special awards for City of Cupertino special awards, but for all the other awards, it will be based on the quality of the artworks, not necessarily based on where the artist is coming from. So it's going to be a combination of both. I guess, by the end of the day, it depends on whether City of Cupertino is willing to fund not only local artists, but also artists that are supporting Green Earth Initiative, no matter where they're from, right? So it's a combination of both.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we're out of time. Thank you so much for the presentation and for clarifying. As we go on to the next presentation, I'm wondering if we could have a timer available, or if we could have the 3 minutes. If they're doing a presentation, I'm not sure they can see it. So
nope. I can hold up my phone.
Okay. I mean, if they're not doing a presentation, we can see the 3 minutes there. And then once the 3 minutes is over, if we could pop it to another 7, just so that we stay on time. Thanks.
Okay, so now I would like to introduce Discovery Counseling Center Cupertino, who is requesting funding for affordable counseling services.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to present our case. Discovery Counseling Center is a 501c nonprofit organization headquartered in Morgan Hill. It has 2 branch offices located in Gilroy and Cupertino. Can you display the view graphs? Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, great. Yeah. So yeah, we have 2 branch offices located in Gilroy and Cupertino office, and this grant application is solely for the Cupertino office. So okay, so let me Somehow trouble to control my screen. Okay, so for next slides. Hello, can you hear me?
We're on the next. So can you view the
Oh, I
next
see.
slide?
Okay. Okay, sure. Interesting. I cannot see you guys. Okay. So next slide. So DCC Cupertino has been sponsored by Home of Christ Church in Cupertino since 2016 to provide a spectrum of continuum care for mental, emotional, and relational health to our local community. Next slide, please. So this continuum care starts with the counseling center, which provides affordable professional psychotherapy treatment to individual couples and families. Its counselors also voluntarily lead or train volunteers to provide other free caring services in this spectrum to those who seek help. Since prevention is 3 times more effective than intervention, we offer personal EQ, marriage, and parenting workshops to equip people with tools and skills to build personal wholeness and intimate family relationships. We have facilitated support groups for people with specific emotional or relational needs, such as grief, moms with teenagers, etc. We also have trained and supervised a group of 26 caring ministers in Stephen Ministry. During the pandemic, these highly trained caregivers have provided much needed one-to-one loving care to more than 65 individuals in our local community who have experienced pain or hardship in life. In order to meet the high demand of these mental health services, we need to hire new counselors to support this expansion of these services, which is the reason for us to apply for this grant. Next, the final slides. So a little background of what the funding will be used for. A typical fee for professional counseling is $160 to $300 per hour. And most counselors do not take insurances because of low insurance payment. However, in order for DCC Cupertino to offer affordable professional counseling, we adopt sliding scale based on patient's income. And then
Okay, thank you. The 3 minutes was up a little bit ago. So let's see if we can go ahead. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure, no problem.
I think hopefully that, I'm pretty sure that a lot of that information is in our packet, so that's good. Commissioner Shu, do you want to go ahead? I know that you had a question.
Oh yeah, then I just want to ask, could you be more specific about what the counselor do, what kind of service?
Sure, of course. Yeah, I would say basically we do exactly same thing as I presented. Basically, provide affordable professional care to our local community. But at the same time, the counselor will support the other free services like workshops, support groups, also training those lay caregivers. So that's the main tasks for this new counselor. And those are free service. So the counselor earn money from the counseling center, provide affordable care. However, for the others, that's basically volunteer. They volunteer work.
Thank you. Let's move on to Commissioner Tambe.
Great. So especially during this time, mental health and access to mental health resources is really crucial. Is the counseling services as well as the various workshops that your organization hosts, is that inclusive to people who are LGBTQ?
I would say counseling center, definitely. Yes, it is. For workshops, depends on our target. If provide to a local community, I would say yes. Yeah, because our goal is to provide these mental health services. We don't have any discrimination against the race or any aspect. So definitely for aspect, yes, we also serve those community.
Okay. It's a follow-up, but I can wait.
Okay. I have a question. So I thought in terms of the number of people served, I thought it said 2. Is that correct?
Say it again. People served.
Yeah. That it said 2 people served, that 2 Cupertino people would be served out of a total of 5. And maybe I read that wrong. It's, who will be served by this grant? And the number of individuals total says 5, and the number from Cupertino is 2. Can you comment on that?
Okay. Oh, sure. Okay, I don't remember that number comes from, but for us, the service provided to all the residents in local community. Cupertino is the main area because we're located in Cupertino.
And how many people would actually get services from this counselor?
Okay, for a counseling service, I don't have a specific number, but I would say this is just regular counseling center, and each counselor, we have roughly 10 to 20 hours per week, counseling hours. So each hour is 1 person. So you can count. Currently, we have 3 counselors. They may not serve all 20 hours or 10 hours, but in that range, serve from 10 to 20 hours per week. So from that, you roughly count how many client hours each week we serve this community.
Okay.
But that's only for counseling center. For the workshops, for the support groups, it's open to public. It's much larger people we served. Like the caregiver I just quoted last year, we served at least 65 individuals for the one-to-one caring ministry.
Okay, Commissioner Tambe, your follow-up?
You asked me, or you asked my question, so.
Okay. Yeah, so we did read the packet, so that's good. And I guess it was characterized by staff as administrative, and so I guess I'd like your comment on how you characterize these counselors. They're basically part of staff. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. They're part of the DCC Cupertino, exactly.
Okay, do we have any other questions? I don't see any more hands. Thank you very much, Stanley.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Good evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, our next presenter.
So next I would like to introduce the Buddhist Tzu Chi Medical Foundation, who is requesting funding for a Healthy Cupertino Health Fair.
Well, hi, my name is Qingxin Wang. I was wondering if I'll be able to present with my slides.
I have the slides that you had sent, and so I can share them from my screen. And you can signal when you'd like me to progress slides.
Hi, everybody. My name is Qingxin Wang. I'm the dentist and a Cupertino resident for Cupertino for nearly 20 years. Tonight, I'm here to represent Tzu Chi Foundation, USA Northwest Region, Milpitas Mobile Clinic, and to tell you why I'm volunteering for Tzu Chi. Tzu Chi is a faith-based nonprofit organization. The founder is a Buddhist nun, Dharma Master Chen Yen, who teaches us to care and cherish the land we live on. It has been 14 years that I have volunteered for Tzu Chi. In the past 7 years, I became the dental director for the Milpitas Mobile Clinic. Through the volunteers' work, I have witnessed the power of healing where the medicine works hand in hand with compassion and humanitarian relief. I am inspired by the spirit of great love without border, and such voluntary experience enriches my life. Can you go next slide, please? And next. In 2018, after Camp Fire, Tzu Chi Emergency Responses Team handed out cash cards to provide fire evacuees and immediate financial support. In addition, the Milpitas Clinic quickly organized medical outreach to Oroville and Magalia a week before Christmas. Our dental team alleviated oral diseases, and our presence brought in emotional support. The healing hands of our Oriental medicine doctors also not only relieve physical muscular pains, but also comfort emotional sufferings from the fire disaster. Next slide, please. In 2019, Tzu Chi Charity and medical team collaborated to provide free dental care to the low-income food pantry recipients in East Palo Alto. We also host street dental clinic for Mountain View Day Worker Center. Our patient loves to see us. Their painful and swollen teeth will be extracted in the morning so they could go to work without any pain. So we have been there for more than 3 years. According to 2019 Santa Clara Community Health Needs Assessment Report, more than 1/3 of adults in the county do not have a dental insurance, and 30% of children lack of recent dental exam. Therefore, after our charity team have partnered with the West Valley Community Service in Cupertino for 15 years, we would like to bring our medicine mission to Cupertino. And that's my presentation.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions from commissioners? I'll ask a question then. One, and I think this is just a technicality, on your list of what the dollars would be going towards, you have $700 for the malpractice, but with a note that says it's $1,400. So is that it's only covering half of the malpractice insurance?
Yes. It depends on the amount of practitioners will be doing the service, which fluctuate depends on the patient we have. So our malpractice insurance is actually very large.
Okay, and so you're getting other funds to contribute to that expense as well?
Yes.
Thank you. And it also said, so it looks like there's a fair amount of the grant would be for materials and equipment. Can you describe that?
Yeah, especially after the COVID-19, there's a lot of needs for PPEs and also evacuation systems. And then also we want to make sure it's COVID safe. And also we will be needing air purifiers, etc., to make our attendees safe.
Super, thank you. Commissioner Tombe. Just had a follow-up question to Chair Stanix. In your application, you mentioned that if it's a multi-jurisdictional organization, describe other funding that you've requested from other agencies. So you said that you're working with other organizations to secure the remainder of that. Can you just talk to, if it's not just that, but any other funding, any organizations or cities that you might be working with?
Okay, our charity majority funding is from our charity members, people who donate to us, individuals. It is for us to work with other organizations, mainly is because we want to collaborate so we can reach out to more people. The amount of money we spend is actually, the amount of funding we get is actually a very little fraction of what we do. So honestly, we actually don't get as much funding publicly. And then so it's used by individuals.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, Commissioner Hsu, go ahead.
I just have a question. So the Tzu Chi headquarters of South Bay is in Milpitas, and I saw the number of Cupertino residents served is 40. Is that an estimate number or a number from the referred by WVCS?
So when we go to a new location for our outreach event, For instance, for the Cupertino event, we get an estimate from the West Valley Community Service. Yeah. So usually when we serve patients in Milpitas, from my own personal experience, we usually see 20 to 30 patients per day. That's for dental department, not including Oriental medicine department. And actually, I have seen a lot of Cupertino residents going to Milpitas to see us.
Thank you.
Do we have any other commissioner questions? Oh, Commissioner Begor.
Just to follow up on what she just said, you have a limit right now of 40, or at least you're estimating it would be 40. What if 80 people turn up? Would you turn them back? Or would you accommodate somehow? Or, I mean, of course, depends on what they've come there for, because there's a lot of different dental services, but just FYI, what would you do?
From my past experience working as the outreach director, we will estimate the amount of manpower for when we go to a city. We'll try it first time. If we see there's more need, we'll come back to host another event. Of course, COVID does, present us a challenge right now. The amount of people we see might be limited, but I see that we can reach out people not only by treatments. We can also host oral medicine, more oral health educations and things like that. Many things can, we can work in many ways.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Job. Thank you very much. And thank you, commissioners, for being very succinct in your questions.
Okay, next I would like to introduce Duwani Academy of Percussion Music in the United States, who is requesting funding for raga and rhythm.
Namaskar. Good afternoon to everybody. I'm Abhijit Banerjee, representing Dhwani Academy. This academy I started in 2004 in Southern California. It's mainly a percussion academy, and I am a percussionist, traveling all over the world. Since then, I have been to Bay Area and San Francisco area, performing for San Francisco Jazz and Aligbo College and all these kind of things. And I have seen in the whole of USA a tremendous interest of Indian classical music in San Francisco and Bay Area. So I started going regularly from 2014. And eventually on 2016, I started to do regular workshops there, including, inviting people from Cupertino. And then I based actually in Cupertino and started this doing the workshop. And then every year I do at least 3 to 4 workshops, 2 major one. And then at the end, I do a festival involving many artists from India who are visiting, or sometimes we bring artists for this purpose. Can I request to see the yes, the second page? These are the artists you can see. I mean, this is the workshop you can see. These are the major workshops, at least twice a year, but more than that. And then the third page, if we can go. Yeah, these are the artists. Every year we present along with the artists all the good students from our academy, as you can see. And then the artists, these are all other artists are very established, and they are all students of Ravi Shankar. So, and then they were visiting here, and some of them were, I brought them for this purpose. Can I go to the fourth page? I'm being very brief. So what we want to do is to continue the workshop at least twice a year. And then what I want to do is the evaluation presentation and evaluation concerts we want to add. And by the way, this time, one of my, this Dhwani Academy is also having a regular big institute in Kolkata, India. And we did an online concert, and one of Cupertino student got the third prize, which really gave me a big impetus. And he also got some money for that. And so that is the workshop thing. We want to actually present those who are really good, doing good, to bring them also India if it's possible. And one music festival, at least in a bigger way than what I have been doing, involving two big artists. And along with that, the students from Dhwani Academy and interested people, those who are good musicians from Bay Area, to present them in the festival.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions? Commissioner Begor.
I guess there is a theme here. Again, looking at the application, just the, this is supposed to benefit a lot of the Cupertino folks, and it's very nice that you've been able to bring these festivals to us. Can you comment a little bit about the number of people that you think will be targeted for this festival/workshop that you want to create?
Well, with my past experience, from the whole Bay Area, people come, but from Cupertino, about 15 to 18 people they join in the major two workshops. In the smaller workshops, it's mainly Cupertino students and Cupertino interested people. That comes to 7 to 11. The smaller workshops. The bigger workshops are like that. And in the festival that we have been doing, generally we get 150 to 200, not 200, 170 people minimum. And this time I have requested to make if I get the help, then I would like to involve some of the people from San Francisco Jazz, like John Santos, to make it a crossover thing. And I am hoping to get a bigger hall if it's possible, to get at least 200 people, so that people from other community can also enjoy Indian classical music and the crossover music, as I presented in other festivals in San Francisco.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shu.
Thank you for the presentation. This program looks great. But I just want to know, what the COVID pandemic would affect your program this year?
Yes, it affected very badly. At the same time, it affected, it got a good thing because of this COVID. We did the Indian, from India, a big music competition, where Cupertino resident got the third prize. I was really very, very amazed, and I was very proud that, one of the Cupertino person got the third prize. But COVID affected it very badly, but still I conducted 3 workshops online, and I got from Cupertino like 12 one time, and another time 9 students from there. And of course, the number of students a little bit came down, but I also did some webinar where fortunately I got really good number of attendance, like at least 48 to 50 from Bay Area. I don't know how many of them are from Cupertino, but all of them who come to our workshop attended that webinar. I did 2 or 3 webinars, and all of them attended. So I hope that the webinar had 70 or 80 people, but out of them, I think at least 25 people were from this area, at least Bay Area and Cupertino mainly.
Terrific. Let's see if we can get one more question in, at least from Commissioner Tambe.
Thank you so much. I have many, but I'll stick to one. So I actually have grown up very involved in the community here. I'm a classically trained Hindustani vocalist, and I was curious, there are many organizations in the Bay Area that support and mentor, train, also bring in folks from India to do these kinds of seminars. So I was wondering, do you have any relationships with other organizations in the Bay Area? And if so, who?
I think I have relationships with all of them. I know Basant Bahar, I know some of the major organizations in San Francisco, like San Francisco Jazz, Air Babuna Cultural Festival, and then some of the musicians like Kenny Endo, John Santos, and other people. But I have performed many times with Basant Bahar, then Mahesh Kale, then with South Indian organization. Just last time, me and Shashank Subramaniam and Rakesh Chaurasia, we played for that, and it was a full hall. So I have played at least, and then Chitras Das Dance Company, Aligarh College of Music, Celine Shine. So name anybody, I generally know them all, and fortunately, all of them know me very well.
Great, thank you. You're on mute.
Commissioner Tambe, if you would like to ask another question, we got another 2 minutes.
Do you hope that the event is geared specifically towards tabla, or are you hoping to have other vocalists? I think you had mentioned it in your presentation, but if you could just clarify, that would be great.
Yes, since the presentation is raga and rhythm, although I am a rhythm person, but I was very closely associated with Panjit Jasraj, and I have played many concerts with Balmurali Krishnaji, and name anybody, I'm associated with them. So that is why, and very recently I did a concert involving Cupertino residents globally, and the 2 students from Cupertino only joined there. And then I invited Rohan Krishnamurthy, the Mirangam player, to play with me, and you can ask him. And the event was joined by Parvin Sultana, one of the greatest singers from India. So definitely I will involve North Indian, South Indian music, and at the same time, some crossover music like Japanese taiko. I have worked with many taiko people like Kenny Endo, and definitely my friend John Santos, who is a Cuban drummer from Oakland, actually, and a teacher of San Francisco Jazz.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Begorf, it's a very short question. We're at the limit.
Oh, okay. Well, might be a little longer, but you want to have one starting June 1st and going on for 7 months? So how many are you planning to have? And I'll keep that.
Yeah, okay. So generally we start from April or May, but because of COVID-19, I'm really not sure when I can start. That's why I have given the date June. And I'm not sure how much long time you will allow me to do. But generally, every year we finish it starting from May to December, and again from April, May to December. But this year, if I can, I will continue after December also. Yeah, that's my plan.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Okay, next I would like to introduce Kalshri Foundation, Inc., who is requesting funding for Indian classical music, concert, and workshop program.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much, City of Cupertino, for this opportunity. It's an humbling experience so far, and I'm really touched with what City has been doing for local community. I begin, Rachel or Whitney, would you be kind enough to open up my presentation? Yeah, so I would just like to put Kalashri Foundation into perspective in 3 pillars, basically mission, project proposal, and funding. Next, please. Kalashri is all about music, and our mission is based on age-old tradition of Indian classical music. It was founded by Vidushi Kalaramnaji, who is not only a founder but artistic director for our organization. And we believe in promoting Indian classical music, educating the community, and platform for aspiring musicians. And the next 3 slides we represent as our project proposal through our missions. So annual concert program is where we promote Indian classical music as our mission, where we want to get the world-class musicians and open up our community to a very, very broad and very traditional Indian classical music. Next slide, please. The first one we conducted was on May 2019, which was really attended and appreciated by about 150 plus local community plus Bay Area audiences. For last 3 years, 17, 18, and 19, we are trying to organize vocal plus violin workshops for local community, and they have been very widely well received. And the aspiring musicians are really liking how they can really get into the music and understand it to the next possible level. 30 plus students have been locally trained into this through this workshop. Next, please. How do we promote aspiring musicians? Is our Guru Purnima annual program. We do it locally, again, held at Cupertino Hall, local community residences, and some smaller halls for last 2 to 3 years. This year we couldn't do it in person, so we had to do it virtually. And again, for last 3 years, about 100 plus local community audiences, young adults were really involved into it. We really believe in enabling and empowering the youth through our musical knowledge to a better and hopeful tomorrow. And we want to provide that platform to them. One step into that is a virtual library project where we really want to do an audiovisual documentation of this ancient traditional art form, which is hardly being documented because it's always an oral tradition. And we want to start on that project to really help that out. Next slide, please. Our funding plan really differentiates in these 4 pillars. And we want to focus different areas, and we are requesting City of Cupertino for this funding. And next slide, please.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah.
You're at your thank you slide.
Yeah, actually, that was a thank you slide. Yeah, I really want to take this opportunity to thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner Begor.
So thanks again for doing this. Now, question I might have missed looking. I scrolled the document again. When do you plan to have it? It says somewhere in 2022, but it didn't have a date, or did I miss something?
So we really are looking forward to organizing these workshops and Guru Purnima events time to time, and looking at the funding timeline and window, we will adjust our schedule accordingly. But what we do is we really want to have these specific events on certain times. So as I'm assuming you're coming from Indian background, Guru Purnima in Indian tradition is on a certain date. So we really would like to have those concerts or those programs on that specific date, which is usually around June or July timeframe. And then workshops following up that concerts at least twice in 1 year.
Okay, so you're expecting this to have it first in June or July this year, or June or July next year?
Every year we do that. So every year of June and July this year, and we will follow it up again next year.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Shu, did you have a question?
Yeah, my question was answered. So
okay, great. Commissioner Tambe.
I have a couple, but I'll pick my favorite first. So similar to the question I asked previously is, have you partnered with other organizations in the Bay Area and in Cupertino around your event? If so, who have you partnered with? It can be nonprofits or even, a lot of the Hindustani classical music schools, or is it primarily the one that you're coming from?
So Kalashri is basically focused on the melody aspect of music, right? So we represent the violin and the vocal music that's been taught by Vidushi Kalaramnaji. For rhythm aspect, when a performer sits on a stage, there are other instruments that go along with it. So for that part of accompaniment, we partner with those students who represent that schools. And there are local Bay Area schools, and especially some of them are local Cupertino schools that we partner with, and they help us provide that rhythm aspect of it.
Great. I'll hold my questions until the chair.
Go ahead and ask another question.
Okay, great. So a couple of the other questions I had. Can you expand upon your virtual library project and what you anticipate covering and where you will be distributing or how you will be offering this to the broader community, not just the Indian community?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that. We have global ambitions, but we want to stay focused locally. So the idea of virtual library project is humongous. So it really encompasses the entire musical arena of Indian tradition. We want to start on a smaller footprint where we want to really capture some of the ragas in Indian classical music, document them in a way that's represented better for the young aspiring musicians to understand, followed up with not only the video component and the audio component of it, but create as a total package so that it's available online for anyone who wants to really go deeper to not only learn, but even to take input from that and make presentations out of it, so that they can even go ahead and based on that information available, they can aspire to be a professional musicians. Where this will be available, we want to really make it open to public with the funds like you granting to make it happen. We may be in a position to offer it free to everyone.
Great. And my final follow-up question is, you mentioned that you wanted to bring artists. Do you have existing relationships with artists that you'd be bringing in from India or other places around the US? If so, can you give a couple of examples of who those would be? And do they also follow the same guru who's inspired your school?
Absolutely. So Vidushi Kalaramnaji is a disciple of Pandit Jasraji, and she herself is one of the 50 best violinists in the world. She herself is a very renowned, internationally acclaimed violinist, and she is as good a vocalist, if you ask me. She is known in music world, not only in Indian tradition, but the other genres all over the world. So the idea is to start with what we can really chew on, which we did last year. We organized our first concert with Mewati Gharana, what she represents, by bringing one of the artists from that Gharana, meaning the tradition that represents by the artist. And we represented that last year in Community Hall by Library. We got the experience how to do it. We have the know-how about how to organize locally and how to open it to the local community and public. We will take that experience and expand it to the other genres and other bigger artists with the help of our founder and artistic director.
Great, thank you.
Wow, super. Thank you so much. I think that's all the time we have tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now I would like to introduce Monta Vista High School Speech Boosters, Inc., who is requesting funding for the Monta Vista Speech Program.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. I'm Raji Mahalingam. I'm the VP and the Secretary of the Monte Vista High School Speech Boosters. Our mission is to support, strengthen, and sponsor the speech program at Monte Vista High School. We are passionate and committed to achieve our goals and to build the students' speech and leadership skills. And we are so proud to be building tomorrow's leaders. Total number of students in our program for a year is around 100 plus, and about 300 plus students have passed out until now. Exponential growth in the last 5 years has been from 8 students to 120 students per year. We need additional resources in order to scale and support this tremendous growth. Scale by hiring and or extending the coaching services by increasing the instructor hours. Support by offering additional tournament opportunities with more chaperone support, broaden our summer camp in order to increase the retention from middle school to high school, and last but not least, to initiate a speech scholarship and award to increase the legitimacy and impact by recognizing excellence and broadening opportunities to participate. The funding will be used to expand our coaching services as well as broadening the summer programs, also to initiate and expand scholarships and awards. Coaches are our strong foundation for they not only build public speaking skills, but they build accountability, leadership, and overall success in every field of our students. We are very proud of our wins. We got the second place sweepstakes at the Stanford University Invitational 2021, where 350 plus schools participated. We got the first place sweepstakes at UC Berkeley Invitational 2021, about 200 schools participated. Third place overall sweepstakes at the James Logan Invitational 2021, where about 100 schools participated. Current ranking in California and nationwide, according to the NSDA, is that Monte Vista High School is 17th in the United States out of about 3,600 schools, and we are 5th in California out of 360 schools. Recently, also, we are a certifying organization of the President's Volunteer Service Award Program, and we have an increase in the amount of novices, and they have also been placed very well. Thank you for this opportunity. I have my board members also supporting me. Meera Natesan, who is the president and CEO, Sundar Nadatur, who is the CFO, as well as our head coach, Gavin Wong, who is not only the head coach, but also the founder of this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You got a lot pushed in there. That's a speech, the speech training for you. Do we have any commissioners with questions? I'll go ahead and ask one. And on your application, there's a place for the number of Cupertino residents. And I think, and that's intended to be how many Cupertino residents will be served. And I think it might have just been filled out a little bit incorrectly. It says 50,000. So, so I guess the question is, and I think it's answered in other places, but I'll just let you address it. How many students how many members do you have, and how many students will be served by this?
So currently we have 120 students in our program, but we are open and we serve the entire Monte Vista High School district. So that's the entire broad range of, all the Lincoln, the Kennedy Middle School, Lawson Middle School funneling into Monte Vista High School.
Okay, thank you very much.
I do have the number of children served. I'm not sure. Should I mention that? I believe it's there on the application.
The number of individuals said like 4,686 or something, and then there's the number of Cupertino residents. So it was just a little. Why don't we go ahead and let Commissioner Begor ask a question?
The total number of individuals served are 4,686. Thank you.
Just wanted to understand, most of this money is going towards the staff. So how many coaches do you expect to hire for this program?
Currently, we have 4 coaches. So we might add more coach, or we might extend the coaching hours, as well as we might add on to include additional categories, more hours, and things like that. Yes. So it can be add or expend or extend the instructor hours.
Okay, Commissioner Shu?
Yeah, I also have a question regarding the headcount related to previous question. And I think the program is open to all the middle school and high school students in Cupertino, but there are only 8 staff and 4 volunteers. And the program is completely free, has no charge. So I'm wondering, how could students apply for this program? If there are too many people apply, is there any way to select which students can join the program?
Any student joining Monte Vista High School can join this program. So that's not anybody, right? It's any student joining Monte Vista High School. So they come from either Kennedy Middle School or Lawson Middle School. So it's bound by the district, number one. And number two is, that is exactly why we go purely by donations. We do not ask any fee, and that's exactly why we are asking for this funding grant.
Yeah, so my question is, if too many students apply, would they be selected to join the program, or?
Yes, we cannot, or we do not deny any student from joining. So currently, we do ask for a donation, as I have mentioned in the application. But again, it's a voluntary donation. And we do it based on that. So every year, our number of coaching and coaching hours all depends upon how much we get, right? So that's very important. So if we get this funding grant, then we will really be able to add on more instructors, more instructor hours, and we'll be able to cover more categories of speech. Right now, we are not having the capacity to cover more or entire categories of speech. So that's why we are applying for this grant. And this is entirely for the Cupertino students.
Commissioner Tambe.
Great. So I had 2 questions, but my first is, you had mentioned that there's $3,000 in additional funding for scholarships. Where does that funding go, and to whom?
Oh, that's a great question. So we are planning to actually recognize deserving students, both by merit-based and need-based scholarships and awards. Right now, we don't have this, or we haven't yet started this, so we want to initiate a scholarship and award program, and that is where we are intending to use this $3,000 if we get it.
Okay, and the follow-up question is I know you said you have a requested donation. If a student cannot make that donation, does that preclude them from participating?
No, not at all. So we request for donation. For certain students, we also offer alternate donation link, wherein even if they are not able to provide the suggested amount, they can provide any amount. And even if they don't provide anything as you suggest, we are fine with it. We do not discard any students based on finance, and it's completely. It's not at all. It's completely different. Yeah. Nobody knows about it.
Can I ask, what is the suggested donation?
We suggest, I'm sorry, I'm blanking out. I think it's 300. Let me check, please. Yes. What is the suggested? I totally am drawing a blank. Yes, we suggest and we recommend it to be $400 for COVID times. But okay. We do not follow through. We do not enforce anybody to pay it or not.
And the scholarships, when those are awarded, do those go towards entrance fees for competitions, or what do they pay for?
So it would be tournament. So one set will be for tournament registrations for students that are not able to pay. because we do have some students who come forward and they request for those. So we would like to help out those students. There are travel tournaments for which we can also try to use those, as well as we would like to also award based on excellence and merit, because we find some excellent students who do very well and they are excellently placed, and we would like to also honor those and recognize those students as awards.
As awards, so that's just a personal prize.
Yes, based on merit.
Right. Okay, I think we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay, next I would like to introduce the Cupertino Library Foundation, who is requesting funding for CLF Empower and Connect Seniors program.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rachel, and the commissioners and other staff. If you could show me the slides that I've given you. Yeah, my name is Sita Lakshmi, and oops, 1 second. Can you stop the clock? Okay. So my name is Sita Lakshmi. I'm representing Cupertino Library Foundation as a board member. We are a nonprofit organization. We advocate and champion for the Cupertino Library and the community. Our grant application today is for a new program that we want to provide for the older adults and seniors in Cupertino. It's an online learning center built by a San Francisco startup called Get Set Up. There will be several classes every day, and the classes will cover everyday technical skills such as how to use a smartphone, how to use a tablet, how to set up a Zoom, so how to schedule and host a Zoom meeting, and how to do online banking, or order groceries, or make doctor's appointment, and so on and so forth. There'll also be sessions on topics related to health and wellness, hobbies, social hours, and more. All of them are fun and interactive. They're taught by experienced educators who are also themselves older adults. Next slide, please. So the pandemic has been particularly isolating and hard on seniors. It's kind of amplified the need for virtual educational sessions and opportunity to socialize from the comfort and safety of their home. And additionally, senior population, irrespective of the pandemic, is also the fastest growing demographic in Cupertino. Between 2010 and 2021, in 10 years, it's grown by 50%. And in another 10 years, there'll be more seniors than youths in Cupertino. Given the growing cost and shortage of independent housing and assisted living, we anticipate that many seniors will choose to age in their own home for as long as possible. Our program that we are proposing will help the seniors not only during this pandemic, but even after the pandemic with their aging in place goals. Next slide, please. We'll be offering the program totally free for about 150 residents for 1 whole year. It would cost us about $25,000, and CLF will be picking up 40% of the cost. And we are hoping to get this $15,000 from the community fund. 100% of the money will be spent directly to support the program. That's equivalent to $100 per member for a whole year of unlimited classes and social hours. The Get Set Up platform that we are going to be using has already been deployed for older adults around the country. In Michigan, they're offering it to their 3.5 million older adults. And there's a California Agency on Aging that covers Sacramento and 6 other counties. And they're offering it to about 500,000 older adults there. So CLF has 13-member volunteer board, and we're all accomplished professionals from Silicon Valley. And many of us.
I hate to cut you off, but the 3-minute time limit is up. I apologize.
Okie dokie. All right. So I'll be happy to answer questions.
Commissioner Tombe.
I was wondering given the amount of misinformation on the internet, as well as the various special interest groups in Cupertino, is there a part of the curriculum that will speak to misinformation and the dissemination of inaccurate or biased information?
Absolutely. The curriculum, it's unfortunate I didn't get to show you the last slide. But, is it possible to share that slide? The curriculum or the course catalog is very extensive. We have 150 courses right now, and the platform allows us to customize and curate these courses and offer new courses very easily. So, and definitely digital literacy and digital, how to safely navigate, those are all topics that are there. And these are all like 1-hour classes that they can take, and they can come back and take it as many times as they want. And then since it's interactive, they can ask they can stop the instructor and ask the questions and get comfortable with the technology.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other commissioners with a question? I have one. So you have the course provider. Are these courses already established and you would be picking and choosing which ones you want to make available, or is it creating new content?
So the content is already created. The CLF will not be creating content. We at most will curate the content if needed. We curate in the sense we'll pick and choose the classes that we want to offer. But if it makes sense, it's like an all-you-can-take kind of a buffet style opportunity. So we may even give that full opportunity, take whatever you want, whenever you want. What it says is it's not we'll continuously evaluate how effective it is, and then we'll customize to fit the needs of the community.
So the funds are, there's a lot of it for the course provider. So are you paying them for their content? Are paying on a per user basis, or how does that work?
So it's the content plus the instructor plus the online the presentation or the online platform that you're talking about. Again, the last slide would have shown you some more information. So we are paying, it's a monthly, you can think of it as a monthly subscription for the content provider. And it's a monthly subscription per person for all you can eat type of model.
Commissioner Tombe.
Just a follow, well, not really a follow-up. For seniors that don't necessarily, or are you partnering at all with the Senior Center and the Senior Advisory Council?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the leading question. Yes, we are strong. I didn't get a chance to, again, mention it, but I think it's in the application. We have strong partnership relationship with Senior Center, with the Chamber, with the Rotary, and so we definitely, while people who are somewhat literate in the digital world can just get started with the classes from day one. If there are people, we will be doing some outreach to those seniors who don't have devices or who are hesitant getting started. We are working on other kind of partnership, which is not really part of this proposal, but it's closely ties with this thing. And so we'll try to work with, pair up some high school volunteers with some seniors and give them the devices and get them comfortable before they can start taking these classes.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Shu, you want to ask our last question?
Yeah, I have some question regarding the amount. In the application, it said requested.
Yes, thank you. So the application I did 100 seniors. It's just this program is evolving, and we've been able to negotiate a better deal with the vendor that now we can support as many as 150, if not more. So a minimum of 150 will cover. This amount will cover a minimum of 150.
But in the total, it said 8,000.
Oh, that is the problem with your platform. Your portal, I tried to edit those numbers, and every time I would add some numbers, it goes to some humongous, the total added up to some humongous numbers. So if you don't mind, take the numbers from the slides that I shared just now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
And if you look at the individual amounts, they are consistent with what was presented. It's just that total that was just.
Right, yeah.
Do we have any other questions? I think we're out of time as well. So thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce the Asian Pacific American Leadership Institute, who is requesting funding for a Poly Youth Leadership Academy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. Good evening, commissioners and Madam Chair. My name is Michael Chang. I'm the founder of a Cupertino-based nonprofit, Asian Pacific American Leadership Institute. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about it. Mission of PALI, as we call it, Asian Pacific American Leadership Institute, is to elevate the national standing of our community through civic training and leadership networking by developing effective access, proper representation, meaningful presence, and influential participation in American political and civic life. Our mission is to train and build a community of civic leaders in government, nonprofit, education, and business sectors. We are seeking a grant to support, to pay and train college student interns, 6 of them, to help run a Youth Leadership Academy class. A little bit about the class first. The Youth Leadership Academy is in partnership with De Anza College. And what we do is to facilitate and to help provide an opportunity for students who are interested in exploring Asian American experience and identity, community issues and civic engagement, academic and career pathways. Each summer since 1999, we have been offering this program, and we have over 800 alumni in this program. It is a non-traditional program in that it is high-tech, high-touch. We offer learning in a collaborative manner. In this summer, we were very successful in putting the whole program online. And the reason we were successful was that we relied heavily on a team of 6 college student interns who would engage their own team of students, about 7 or 8 students each, for discussions and doing a project. The program, the proposal is to fund the peer mentors. Each one of them receives $1,800 as a stipend, and also $8,000 for the mentor trainer. The program is considered in our end of program reviews for both the interns as well as for the students in the youth program. Over 80% of the students rank the program as either very impactful or extremely impactful in terms of the experience.
Okay, can we try to go to questions now?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, do you have questions? Commissioner Begor.
Are you requesting the money so that you could hire mentors who are going to train a group of so these are DeAnza and FUHSD students. How are you going to select? I mean, I'm assuming each can train 6 or 7 people. So how do you select them?
Yes. The Youth Leadership Academy is offered as a class at DeAnza College, and we hire a team of 6 college students to work with that class. The class itself is like, last year we had 43 students.
Participate in the class. Okay, I missed that point.
Yeah. Sorry.
To be there.
Other commissioners, do you have questions? So I'll ask, so the interns are chosen out of previous course students?
Yes.
Is it a competitive, and how are they chosen?
It is competitive. We have a long process. We have just finished our application, accepting applications. We have 35 applicants, and I would say maybe we have 7 or 8 that are returning, who have taken the Youth Leadership Academy, and then returning to serve as interns. The rest are college students who have taken classes in Asian American Studies and have a track record of being on student government, being civically engaged in different ways.
So is, as you're the Asian Pacific American Leadership Institute, is it sort of a self-selecting group that you'll probably, since there are students who are interested in this, that they are mostly of that ethnicity?
Mostly, but not all. We are extremely inclusive environment, so it's pan-Asian, so all kinds of Asian groups. Non-Asians are welcome. Anyone interested in learning more about Asian Americans, we would really welcome them.
Okay, commissioners, do you have any other questions? Commissioner Begor.
If for whatever reason this is not funded, how will you go through? I think I missed that question. Or if this was not funded.
Yeah, so each year we have our own, fundraising, annual fundraising. But last year, because of the COVID situation, the fundraising was very difficult. So we had, a lot less. There are possibilities of having to cut back on programs. That's why we are applying to Cupertino for the first time, even though the program's been arranged. Because DeAnza College obviously don't pay for the student interns, right? But that's really what makes the program special. The students really want that closeness, that peer mentoring, to have more than a class, but an experience.
And so the leadership skills that they're learning, is it specific to leadership, how it would work best in Asia or with the Asian community?
So this is to promote good citizenship in the United States. And so students, we have a big network of alumni. So each year we bring back maybe 40, 50 alumni to speak. They are all accomplished in government, elected office, in nonprofits, in the corporate world, in the tech world, and in education. And so they learn about these, what we call non-traditional careers that some students are really attracted to, but they just don't have a lot of role models. And being able to see these former students who've gone into it and now is on a city council or maybe on even the state assembly, gives them something to think about and say that, oh, maybe, maybe there is something there, or maybe being an executive director of a nonprofit and saying, oh, maybe there's life, since I really like to volunteer all my time, and maybe that's where we want to serve on a city commission.
Terrific. Do we have any other questions? I think we're just about out of time. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next I would like to introduce Kariki, who's requesting funding for bringing Cupertino learning to life.
So we did have Abby Ross say that she would be a representative. We don't see her in the panelist, or sorry, in the participant list. So if there is a representative here for that organization and you'd like to raise your hand, let us know. If not, then we may move to the next organization. It doesn't look like anyone here is to represent that organization.
So Carol, that was our last new applicant. So I'm not sure if before we move on, you want to take a quick break?
I think that would be a great idea. And since we just had one applicant that didn't show, we have a little bit of time. So how about if we take a 6-minute break? So come back at 8:50. And I apologize for a little delay for the returning applicants, but hopefully you can hang in with us, and we'll get back at 8:50. How's that? move on with our returnees.
All right, so now I would like to introduce Friends of Deer Hollow Farm, who is requesting funding for a demonstration garden.
Aha! There I am. Oopsies. 1 second. Let me just pull up my notes here. Well, good evening, members of the Parks and Recreation Commission and Cupertino staff. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Lauren Merriman. I am the president of the Friends of Deer Hollow Farm. The Friends of Deer Hollow Farm is a volunteer-based 501c3 nonprofit organization that's been in existence for 26 years. Our mission is to preserve Deer Hollow Farm as a historical area and farm and support the farm's environmental education programs for the benefit of local schools and the community through donations, grants, and public events. Obviously, that aren't happening right now. We have submitted an application seeking $7,000 for a capital project to build a new demonstration garden at Deer Hollow Farm. This project will benefit school programs that visit the farm, as well as the general public, by increasing the visibility and access to a demonstration garden. The funding will specifically be used for the materials for this project. The labor to build the garden will be provided by Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space Maintenance staff and Deer Hollow Farm staff who are employed by the City of Mountain View. One thing to note is that since submitting my original application, the district and farm staff have identified a different location for this demonstration garden. My application indicated that its location would be at the main gate next to the historic white barn that is currently under renovation. However, they've identified a new location that they're firming up this week, hopefully, which will still be near the main entrance, but will be closer to the existing orchard that'll maximize some unused space and increase sunlight and potentially some existing irrigation. So on behalf of our board, I want to thank you for your time and consideration this evening, and I am available for your questions.
Wow, thank you for the very succinct presentation. Commissioners, do you have any questions? I don't see any hands. Oh, there's Commissioner Tombe. Go for it.
So I was wondering if you could speak to the efficacy of previous programming that y'all have had, and yeah, pretty much the efficacy of previous programs, so we can understand better how a program like this would help in the future.
Sure. So there actually is currently a demonstration garden at Deer Hollow Farm. It is located at the very back of the property, and it is in kind of a shaded area. And what the staff has identified is that when they have school, this is all like pre and post COVID, but when they have actual school children on campus or on site, it's difficult for them to get the little bodies, and the farm and garden tours are usually the smaller first graders for the most part. It's difficult to get them all the way to the back of the garden or back of the property to the garden, where the animals are kind of in the main area. So staff has really identified moving the location of the garden to a closer to the main gate, and to increase the sun exposure so that they can increase their production of growing, fruits and vegetables and herbs and things that they can actually use for the teaching.
Wonderful, thank you.
Will the existing garden continue to be planted?
I believe that they will still use that garden. It's been established. We've rebuilt that garden a few times to help with like rodents and things like that. So I don't think that it's going to be demolished by any means. I think that they're just looking for something that will be easier to access by the school classes, and then also easier to access for the general public coming to and from the farm when they can reopen, hopefully soon.
So these will be raised beds. So will there be fencing on top to help with the rodents as well? I mean, in Cupertino, we're just redoing our own community garden. So we know about the issues with the critters.
So what they are proposing is actually an enclosed almost greenhouse. So there will be raised beds, and it will be able to be completely secured. I mean, completely secured in a natural setting as best as they can. But yeah, they have been taking those things into consideration.
Terrific. Commissioners, do you have any other questions? It looks like you have answered all of their questions, and just like that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, now I would like to introduce the Santa Clara Valley Audubon Society, who's requesting funding for the Wildlife and Harvest Festival.
Go.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thanks for the chance to speak to you on behalf of Santa Clara Valley Audubon Society. I'm Matthew Daughter, the Executive Director of SCVAS, which was founded in 1925. And as we approach our 100th birthday, it seems the local outdoor experience and wildlife is even more important than it was when we started. And we find that very exciting. So serving Santa Clara County with our education and conservation programs, we reach an average of 2,000 students each year and help protect important wildlife habitat and provide nest boxes for thousands of cavity nesting species. So each year for decades, we have held a one-year October event that educates visitors about environment and natural resources. The event attracts over 1,000 local Cupertino residents mostly to Blackberry Farm, where local wildlife exhibitors, local environmental groups, and SCVAS give presentations and guide activities that inspire children and adults to care about our environment and wildlife. In 2020, of course, our plans for a one-day physical event were adapted quickly to an online format, which we scheduled for an entire month of regular video releases. We took raw video footage from our partners and transformed it into a diverse collection of compelling short videos, 5 to 10 minutes each, all designed to promote wildlife, local wildlife, and its wonders. It was successful by every account and attracted many repeat views. Local teachers even asked their students to watch the videos as they came out so they could discuss the material in class. And we loved that. But our small staff and outdated equipment, we struggled with the process of the enormous files, and it was a challenge to complete the project. In light of continued concerns for COVID safety, we proposed another month-long video festival. And with the funds we have requested, we will be able to purchase much needed equipment and produce more and better quality videos for the event, allowing for nonprofit organizations to participate and attract more public views. The co-branding format we have adopted for the videos benefits 45 plus nonprofits involved and informs more people of the services and opportunities of our community. So with your financial assistance, we anticipate viewership will increase well beyond the 1,000 we saw last year, and outreach efforts and promotion. So we look forward to improving this exciting online event with your help. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, do we have any questions? Commissioner Bregor.
The first question I have is that you were planning to have this event in October. Hopefully, we'll all be out of lockdown by then. So, is this going to be in the at the Blackberry Farm, or is that somewhere else?
No, we feel strongly still that by October we won't. We believe it's still not going to be wise to host a large physical event. So we've designed this specifically as a COVID-safe event. The next year, perhaps, we'll be able to return to what we call normal now. But for the time being, we think it'd be safest, be prudent, and it could attract more people if we keep it as an online video event for over the course of an entire month.
It wasn't clear to me exactly what. Yeah. Okay. All right. Then. So the in the cost breakdown, I'm assuming I can go with the second question, Chair, or do you want someone else to ask the question first?
No, please go ahead.
So the cost is all for administrative staff. Can you expand on that just a little bit more?
I think it was in materials and equipment, right?
Yeah. It should have been in materials and equipment.
What I am staring at, I swear, I am looking at really hard, and it says administrative staff, materials, equipment is 270. So that's why I was.
Are you looking at page like 283 of the full document?
Section 5. This was prior funding, maybe 283. Okay, there we go. Never mind.
I'm glad we got that cleared up.
Wrong page.
Just to clarify, there was an enormous amount of staff time that went into video creation and content generation. And we did not include that in the funding request because we realized that the money that we are requesting is really going to go towards much needed equipment. That would include everything from lighting, sound equipment, and a better software for the video processing. So that was where we decided to put our funding request.
But a significant amount of it on administrative staff, is that?
Well, we estimate that probably the cost of the admin time would bump up the total cost of the event to $17,000. And we were asking, I'm not looking at the numbers at the moment, but that's my recollection. So we are requesting funding for the equipment that we need to make this event even more of a successful than it was last year.
Commissioner Tambe?
Great. So seeing as none of the funding is being used for administrative and staff costs, I was wondering if you could speak to how you plan on marketing this event. I also did happen to see some of it last time, so that was really exciting. But I would love to hear more about how you plan on spreading the word and sharing, spreading the word, spreading the gospel.
I'm really glad you asked that, actually.
To the public.
So traditionally, we have promoted it really heavily to the immediate neighborhood and the community, the city of Cupertino, of course, and we will still do that. This year, we're going to make a concerted effort to approach every school in Cupertino and make sure that they're aware of it so that the content that we're presenting will be interesting and they'll know about it and they'll be able to use it like some of the teachers did in Meyerholtz. So we'll be approaching schools, we'll be using local bulletin boards, we'll be using Nextdoor, we'll be using our website, we'll be using Facebook and Instagram and any number of other channels that we have. Including our own membership, a large portion of which comes directly from Cupertino. So that is, and we didn't do as good of a job last year as we would like to have done because it was a very new situation. And we hadn't had a video event like this before, so it was all new. And now with one event under our belt, I think we're much better prepared to really promote the heck out of it and really target the Cupertino community, as we always have when we have the physical event.
So I also wanted my follow-up question to that in terms of promotion. You are bringing attention to a lot of things happening around Cupertino. So are you including engagement opportunities for viewers or information about ways that a viewer might be able to engage with the stuff that they're actually seeing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there are a number of ways. We have in the neighborhood of 45 or so partner organizations that we're considering, and that number may go up or down a little bit. Each one of those videos will have contact information at the beginning and the end of each video. We'll have ways to contact them directly. We'll have activities that people can participate in, such as nest box building and bird feeder building. They'll be able to get supplies at our nature shop, and they'll be able to download materials, download instructions for it. But it's designed really to promote a lot of our kind of sister organizations, wildlife and environmental nonprofits, all nonprofits. So definitely they'll be able to engage with them directly or even through us.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
One last quick question. Sorry, I'm gonna jump in. And that was, once this content is created, is it something that will be available on an ongoing basis? So.
Yeah, exactly. We were so proud of the content that we did generate and the content that we processed from our other organizations. We kept it online and on our website long after the festival was over. And this is one of the real benefits of a video event, a month-long video event, as opposed to a one-day physical event. Because when that one-day physical event is over, it's over. But for this content remains available to anyone who wants to view it. And we consider the number of people that can't make it on that one day to a physical event, or students that are out of traveling or something. So yes, it will be available for quite some time. It'll be available to the city, and we'll make sure that the city is promoted as we promote all of our partners with the videos.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're out of time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now I would like to invite West Valley Community Services, who is requesting funding for the Gift of Hope Holiday Program.
Good evening, staff, Madam Chair, and the commissioners. Before I start my presentation on West Valley Community Services, I just want to say that we partner with a lot of organizations who presented today, and also want to do a plug-in that I am an APALI alumni, so an excellent program for civic engagement. With that, my name is Sujata Venkatraman. I'm the Associate Executive Director at West Valley Community Services. We are a local nonprofit, a safety net organization based in Cupertino, but we serve the West Valley region. We are asking funding for our Gift of Hope program that we do during the December holiday season. This helps low-income families celebrate the holiday with basic need items. Sometimes it's clothing, jackets, personal items. We've been doing this program for several years now. Last year, we saw a 39% increase in the program. Our funding of the $10,000 that we're asking would go towards supporting Cupertino families in participating in this program. This is for low-income families who are in Cupertino. These programs, apart from our food and other supportive services, really helps the family to celebrate the holiday, really helps them to meet their basic needs beyond food, meeting more of their emotional needs. It helps families be part of the community. We have been serving Cupertino and West Valley region for now 49 years. And this program has been there all the while, part of our core mission in uniting the community to fight hunger and homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, do you have any questions? I don't see any questions. Must be that we're so familiar with this that we do know the organization, and
so glad to hear that. It's always good not to have question, and we can move the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I would like to introduce the Silicon Valley Jewish Film Festival, who is requesting funding for their film festival.
So we had an email that we would not have a representative for this organization. I don't know if we want to give just a minute to see if any of the participants happen to be here to represent. They wanted to raise their hand. Don't see any attendees here to speak for this organization.
Chair, can I ask a question on that really quickly?
Sure, go ahead.
I wanted to just confirm / clarify. We didn't fund them last year, right?
No,
so,
we did fund. So they were
how
not.
Much?
Oh,
sorry. It doesn't matter. Okay, we funded them. I missed that.
Well, so they were in the lower tier that council approved for 50% funding.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so I would like to introduce the Chinese American Coalition for Compassionate Care, who is requesting funding for starting the conversations and mindful self-care.
Good evening.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the slide, by the way. Thank you all for the opportunity to address the City of Cupertino Parks and Recreation Commission meeting this evening. My name is Jeannie Wan. I am a past board chair of the Chinese American Coalition for Compassionate Care. The coalition was founded in 2005 to address the lack of a linguistically and culturally appropriate end-of-life information and training available to the Chinese community and to the healthcare professionals who serve them. Our mission is to build community where Chinese Americans are able to face the end of life with dignity and respect. Last year, the coalition received a generous $6,000 grant from the City of Cupertino, and we're in the 9th month of that grant period. Our hope is to continue to do the good work that we've been doing virtually online, targeting the Chinese community of older adults and multi-generational families, caregivers, and individuals. And when it's safe, we'll adopt to the COVID protocols to incorporate face-to-face events and venues like the Cupertino Senior Center and Cupertino Library and Quinlan Community Center. All our programs are provided at no charge, and the programs include heart-to-heart cafe, advanced care planning presentations, advanced healthcare directive workshops, presentations on understanding hospice and palliative care, how to start the conversation with your family, and a new program, a guest speaker series called Redefining What Matters. And that features leading healthcare professionals, East and West professionals in their field of expertise. We also conduct weekly mindful caregiver stress reduction meetings, mindful self-care workshops, and the impact on the Chinese community is invaluable, especially during a pandemic. They would be positively impacted on their engagement and the process of starting the end-of-life conversations with their family members, caregivers, and their physicians regarding their end-of-life care wishes. And they'll learn mindful self-care tips and techniques to reduce their stress level, which will bring peace of mind into their lives, again, during a pandemic. The breakdown of our funding for $12,000 that we're requesting falls into 5 categories: 33% in the professional service, 21% in the admin staff, 17% in materials, and room and venue 17%, and then for print, mail, and shipping, it's 12%. Two items that were not in our application, which we all sadly are aware of, is that there's been an increase of acts of violence towards Asian Americans in the community, which has exacerbated the fears of the Chinese Americans in the Bay Area regarding their public safety. So the mindful self-care program that we have would help reduce their stress levels during the pandemic. Secondly, the last item is...
Interrupt you. I apologize, but the time has run out. I apologize.
It's all right.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have questions? Commissioner Tambe.
A critical need. So I actually had a question based off of last year's grant, and then curious as to how you're going to change that for the upcoming year. So last year you listed that you had about roughly 3,000 people served, and about 900 of those were from Cupertino. I'm wondering for the upcoming year how you plan on increasing that, or do you think that proportion is going to stay the same? What is the outreach that you do to the Cupertino Chinese American population?
That's a very good question. Thank you. So just to remind you that it's a forecast that we had put together because we have not completed. And so that was an estimate that we used, that the number that we anticipate hitting is a 30% would represent Cupertino residents. Now going forward, basically the same thing. The numbers will go up, but it'll be 30%. What would be lovely is for us to be able to have some way that we can reach out to the Cupertino Senior Center, the library, where we can have our promotional flyers put forth and move forward so the community can see the programs that we're putting on. And they're obviously targeted for Mandarin-speaking Chinese folks. And if we run across somebody that's non-Mandarin speaking, we'll just address their issues aside. But we do advertising, or at least interviews with the Chinese radio, which many people listen to, and then the local Chinese papers that were interviewed to help support that. And plus, we put it in the local community newspapers as well, because they're bilingual, and if they read it, that they'll attend it. And that's how we would market it. And we use Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Xu.
Oh, yeah, my question is similar. I'm wondering, so after the COVID pandemic, how about, how can you do the caregiver training, and how about the program of end of life care? Is it possible to do that in online version, or maybe you generated some new program for this, for last year?
I love the question. When we got into this pandemic, we did everything publicly, and we switched our thinking and outreach and went into the Zoom platform mode and worked virtually. And we found, oddly enough, that our participants prefer online rather than in person, because some of the things, like the heart-to-heart cards that they use, they're in the safety of their own home, and that they can look and discuss with their family members what their wishes are. And it's been more powerful and more important. So when we're non-COVID, we're going to still maintain online participation and still offer both, because as I tell you, who knew what this COVID was going to bring and how we were going to do business? And we continued to move forward, and we appreciate the support that the city of Cupertino gave to us last year in terms of starting the conversation about advanced healthcare planning. I mean, during COVID, we didn't know what was going to happen. And so these people were panicked, like, all of a sudden, what are we going to do? And so having that conversation was very powerful.
I guess my question is, generally these grants are looking to fund a specific project that has an end date, and it looks more like what the request is here is for the general services that you provide. Could you address that? Are there some specific project aspect of it?
Well, that's a very good question. The thing is that advanced healthcare planning is every day. And so to be able to reach everyone every day, to be able to provide that platform, if you will, for them to engage with us is tremendous. And so we've had people that come into our sessions and then later bring their whole family in. So it is a continuation, yes, but we also in our mindful reduction and stress and so forth is a new program, and so is the speaker series. So we do build on what we have, and that's all that really I can express. It's like you have your core programs and you want to be able to deliver the goods, and then we build on it. And people certainly enjoy a conversation talking about who thought people would want to talk about end of life, and they show up. And the taboo is that Chinese people don't talk about death and dying. It's very true. But I tell you, when you put on the program, and they are in the rooms and they are having that conversation where they normally wouldn't, and they wouldn't have it with their doctor or their caregiver. And so we've given them a platform where they can speak. And that's kind of the testament to the people that attend our meetings and workshops, that, you know, they didn't know that hospice care was available to them. Instead of throwing everything at it for that patient, that hospice care is an option that they can consider. And also, you know, what is life support? What is that going to look like? What are the chances of me getting off of life support once I'm on? So those conversations are very real, and we've been very proud of the inroads that we've made, and even educating the healthcare professionals that treat them.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're out of time.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to introduce the Rotary Club of Cupertino, who is requesting funding for the Cupertino Fall Festival.
Unmute.
There you are.
And now I see why this is taking a while for everybody to do. All right. Well, good evening. So my name is Warren Mahoney, and I'm representing the Rotary Club of Cupertino. And just to remind everybody, Cupertino is the largest service organization in Cupertino with over 210 members dedicated to Rotary's motto of service above self. And by the way, we are all volunteers. We do not have any paid staff in the organization. So the project we're proposing is the Silicon Valley Fall Festival. Cupertino Rotary has been putting on a community festival for over 40 years. As you can imagine, it has evolved over time as the city has changed to today's model, where we partner with the World Journal, the area's largest language Chinese newspaper, and we partner with both school districts and the Cupertino Library Foundation. So a question that gets asked is, why is the Fall Festival different from the other community festivals from a funding point of view? Mainly because the Fall Festival provides direct benefits to the city, including the Health and Safety Fair that was formerly run and funded by the city as a separate event, and an environmental zone which complements the Earth Day Festival the city does in the spring. But equally important to the direct benefits is that all of the profits from the event go directly to support the needs of the underserved in the community, including many of the organizations that you've already heard from. So as you're aware, last year there were no community festivals at all. So what did we do to preserve one of our organization's major fundraisers? Well, Cupertino Rotary pivoted to maintain the spirit of the event and retain our many sponsors, including last year's community funding grant. What we did was to produce a fall festival recognition program instead of the normal festival program book. If you could put up the first slide. So in this book that we distributed with ads from our sponsors, it was distributed with the Cupertino Courier. And in this book, we highlighted just a few of the many projects that Rotary did to particularly support the community's needs from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. As you'll see, if you want to go through the next two slides with a couple of seconds each. So what's interesting is these projects had a broad impact, but I also want to point out that almost every one of these projects had a hands-on component, like our projects usually do. So we're not just a pass-through of dollars. You're not just giving money to us so we can give it to somebody else. You're really leveraging the city's financial impact by providing some funding, but a lot of hands-on from the 200 volunteers that we have. So in summary, this year, Cupertino Rotary is eagerly awaiting a real fall festival. Unlike my previous speaker that was saying by October, we're scheduled for September. With the vaccines rolling out and other things, we're optimistic, cautiously optimistic, that we can have a real fall festival where we are again ready to support the city directly as well as we have in the past, as well as all the organizations that help those in need in the community. So I thank you for your consideration of our proposal and the city's continuing support, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any hands? Commissioner Begor.
Yeah, so quick question, with the funding that was provided last time, I can see that there were some projects that you work with West Valley, etc. But what was that about the book that was published?
There were a lot of different projects. So, and I sent a PDF of that booklet with you. So, we do a lot of stuff with West Valley. We did some stuff with the YMCA Women's Shelter. We did stuff with Our Daily Bread, an organization in Sunnyvale. We did a lot of PPE, mask distribution, to Sunnyview Senior Center. We did the Wolf Road Hygiene Project, where we gave out hygiene kits for the homeless encampment on Wolf Road. We did a program where Cupertino Rotarians that usually paid for lunch still paid for lunch, but that money went through the chamber to the Senior Center and West Valley Community Services. We rebuilt a couple of homes that we usually do with Rebuilding Together. Back to School Backpacks was with West Valley Community Services, Give Cars to Vienza, and our big Thanksgiving meal. We still give Thanksgiving meals to seniors. So
wonderful work. I was just kind of curious as to, the fall festival could not obviously happen, but it looks like besides all of the stuff that you were talking about, I was kind of curious what that PDF or whatever that book was. It was like, what was that? That was just the previous events that
sorry, go ahead. So normally the Fall Festival is one of our two biggest fundraisers.
That was the question.
And the funding comes from, in part from the city. Thank you for supporting us in the past, but for our other community sponsors. So we get sponsored from Apple, we get sponsored from Recology, we get sponsored from AT&T and a lot of the different organizations. So what we did with that recognition book was provide a way for them to still support us and have ads in the book and continue to support us so we could do all those good things. Whereas many other Rotary clubs, if they had a big event like an art festival or a barbecue or something, just completely gave up the ghost. We were able to pivot and maintain those sponsorships to maintain the same level of support for those in the community.
Okay, let's see if we can move on to the next question. Commissioner Hsu.
I want to clarify. So that means last year, Rotary Club applied funding for a specific program, but actually they used it looks like for some other different program generally. Is that right?
actually, when between the time I submitted the first application, the normal application for the fall festival, and the time there was a second round, the city asked whether we want to make any changes because of COVID. And I did put something in there by saying if we could not have a real a real live festival, that we would try to do exactly what I try to do, which was do something virtual or semi-virtual to maintain the services of the people we did. So that was in last year's application. And when I have to report out on that, I will make that very clear this year.
And I also remember in some previous discussion, someone mentioned the fall festival also get some other form of city support. But in your application, you said it's only some fee waiver for Memorial Park. There's no other support from our city.
That's correct. So like the other festivals, the Cherry Blossom Festival, the Diwali Festival, Holi, and a few of the other ones that are there. What's the Taiwanese Children's Festival? Anyway, like all of those, we get fee waivers for the use of the park. So that's kind of a level playing field that we all have. The difference, as I kind of tried to say earlier, and there wasn't a lot of chance to do that in the application, is that we also do a couple of direct things where we actually provide services that the city used to provide separately. So when they had a health and safety fair, it was a small event in the place in front of City Hall. We get more people, and they don't have any expenses. The city gets free booths there, and et cetera. So.
Okay, let's move on to Commissioner Tombe. We have a couple more minutes.
Great. So I actually do remember your follow-up. We had requested a follow-up of the applicants of what their COVID contingency plan was. And so I remember your previous the previous amendment to your application about what your COVID contingency plan is. Looks like you guys were really able to do that well and pivot and still maintain the value. My question is, should that happen again, what are some of the lessons learned or the things that you would like to, either do new or change if you did have to go virtual again?
So we could do that again. The good news is that we actually, because our expenses were down, because we didn't have to buy tents and porta potties and all the things that you normally have to do to run a festival, and we kept many of our sponsorships that we actually made about the same amount of money. So, at one level you'd say, well, why don't you just do that all the time? But the spirit of this is really to bring the community together and to really expose them to the health and safety fair, to expose them to the different cultural events that I didn't even talk about. We have a cultural fair with all the different, communities from around the world, the entertainment and people want festivals. People are, I don't want to say dying to get out because that's a bad thing to say in this one. People are crazy to get out and do things again, in my opinion. Not just this festival, but everything. And so, as I said earlier, I got my second shot this week. I'm ready to go. My wife's got her first shot, and that's because we skew a little older, But I think by September we're gonna be there, and it's outdoors. Outdoors makes a big difference. Gilroy Gardens, which is a big outdoor facility that Rotary is going to, or not our club, but the district's going to use for an event later this summer, is opening May 13th or something. 4 events.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We're running out of time. So before we get into Gilroy Gardens.
Well, just to say that people are ready to go and do things outdoors.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
Last but not least.
Not least at all. So I would like to introduce UFRAT Museum of Art, who is requesting funding for UFRAT Museum exhibits and events.
And thank you for your patience.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Argabright, the director of the UFRAT Museum of Art at De Anza College and a longtime Cupertino resident. The UFRAT is Cupertino's only art museum. We traditionally present one-of-a-kind exhibitions, events, and programs that reflect the rich, diverse heritage of our area and respond to what's alive in our community. Our Arts and Schools program joins professional artists and students of all ages in using art as part of the community building process. The proposed funding is for exhibition-related expenses, events, and community outreach. The fall exhibition that we have planned is Common Ground, is the title, and it will be October through December 2021. This exhibition will explore our shared humanity beyond borders and divisions. The winter exhibition, February through March 2022, will be aligned with the 2022 Silicon Valley Reads theme and books. And that is a community-wide program produced, coordinated by the Santa Clara County Office of Education and the Santa Clara County Library System, which includes, of course, the Cupertino Library. In spring, May through June 2022, we will present the De Anza Student Art Show. Events will include guest artist presentations and workshops. Everything is open to the public and free of charge. Here's a specific breakdown of what funding will be used for. $3,000 for administration staff, $1,500 for materials equipment, which is largely for doing installations and paint and all kinds of materials. Professional services is $8,000, and that represents 5 limited engagement fees for artists, special site-specific artist installations, and also workshops. And then last of all, $2,500 for fine art shipping. As an example of creatively pivoting during the pandemic and bringing art into the public space, I'd like to conclude with just a note about Hope and Solace, a Cupertino public poetry project that we're doing in partnership with the Cupertino Poet Laureate Program. We're inviting Cupertino poets, residents, students of all ages to write one line or sentence about hope. All languages welcome. A series of artful banners will incorporate poetic responses from throughout our community, and these will be installed in late May around the perimeter of De Anza College, facing Stevens Creek Boulevard and Stelling Road, facing the community. All right, thank you so much for your time and consideration. I'm trying to be concise.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, do we have any questions? I guess I'll go ahead and start. So there's $8,000. It's called artist installations. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, so that's where an artist, you're asking artists, it's not just a painting that you would install on the wall or maybe a sculpture on a pedestal, but they're actually given a certain amount of space in which they will create a site-specific installation. So those are very exciting art forms. And since it's going to be a different way of having visitors, they'll have to be limited. We can actually use this space in a different way, take up more. Usually I've in the past had to reserve a certain amount of space for groups, big groups coming in, and that's not going to happen.
So what do the funds actually pay for?
So there's 5 artists who've already been identified, and they would each get $1,500 for addressing the theme that I'm asking them to and coming up with an art installation, and then actually transporting it, everything that goes with that, installing.
Okay, so it actually goes to the artist to create their...
100% to the artist, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is Commissioner Tombe.
So it was great to hear how during COVID you engaged the Cupertino Poet Laureate Program. What are some of the other ways that the UFRAT Museum has engaged directly with the Cupertino community? I know we have a lot of artists coming through, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about just historic participation with the city of Cupertino and Cupertino residents specifically.
Sure. Wow. I've been there 30 years, so there's so many examples to give you. Often have collaborated with high schools and elementary schools to do collaborative art projects around particular themes. And then those art projects are displayed alongside professional work in shows. That's one way. Worked with so many different divisions and organizations at De Anza College as well, and that is also ongoing. For example, there's a couple De Anza classes that are creating lines of poetry for the Public Poetry and Art Project. Gosh, we work with many different Cupertino groups. I probably should get out a grant and go down my list.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shu.
Yeah, and I see that the museum is temporarily closed because of the COVID pandemic. I'm wondering, would that help to maybe lower the running cost of the museum? Or is it has any other impact? Thanks.
Well, certainly less money was spent this year because of COVID, because of almost all the programming had to be virtual. We're being optimistic and hoping that by October, we'll be able to open in person again. So should we be able to open in person, which I hope we do, those expenses won't go down. I don't know, it's also, I think, important to note that De Anza College does not fund the museum. So I am tasked with raising all the funds to pay myself and all museum expenses. And the pandemic had a severe impact on the way that we've traditionally raised the money, which was through revenue generating programs, in-person art classes, camps for children and youth. I think I'm digressing, so I'll stop.
Commissioners, are there any other hands with questions? I think that answers it. Thank you so much for waiting and presenting to us tonight.
Yes, thank you so much.
Before we move off of this subject, I'm just going to look at the attendees and see if there are any other oral communications or comments on this. I'd like anyone to raise their hand so we could see how many there are before I allocate 3 minutes to each one. The good news is I don't see anyone raising their hands. So do we have any other questions or comments about this agenda item? Commissioner Tombe.
Yeah, Director Magrini, would you mind, just for the folks who are still in the audience, just to let them know what the review, what the process is going forward and what next steps will be taken so they're just aware of where they sit now in the whole pipeline?
Yes, absolutely. So this was our preliminary meeting to get feedback from the groups. And we will be moving on to the April 1st meeting to do the deliberation and tallying and recommendation to council. And I would like to actually turn it over to Whitney to discuss that part of this item right now. And then if there are any additional questions, I'm happy to answer those as well.
Thanks.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm just going to real quickly go over the next steps for the evaluation process. If you want to go to the agenda slide. So we'll be going over the evaluation process, the evaluation form, and we'll do a brief review of the information that we're providing. So we've recently received new direction on how commissions should conduct evaluations. We will actually not be utilizing the grant portal as anticipated. Instead, we'll be emailing the commissioners the evaluation form, which they'll complete individually and bring their preliminary ratings to the April commission meeting for deliberation. No evaluations will be submitted to staff prior to the April meeting. At the April meeting, the commissioners will be able to discuss evaluations and eligibility for each organization and will provide their ratings to staff to be consolidated and help facilitate the discussion on providing a recommendation to the City Council for funding. So the evaluation form we'll be providing you includes the criteria approved by the commissions at the January 7th meeting. The information noted on the evaluation form for each applicant will include the amount requested, previous funding if applicable, and it'll be available which is available in the application summary, which is attachment B for this item. So to review the information, the staff will send the commissioners the evaluation form, which they'll fill out and provide rankings for each applicant. The commissioners will bring their evaluations to the April commission meeting, where they will share their rankings to staff to compile at the meeting. And then the commission will deliberate and finalize the recommendation to the city council. We're here to answer any questions.
So I guess I have a question about, so you're going to be compiling it real time?
Yes, yes, we will.
That's new and different.
Reasons. Yes, so we are taking a safe route for transparency while we're further investigating and looking into best practices for these things for commissions. So to be on the safe side, we will be doing it all in public at the meeting.
So would our discussion happen before you compile it? Are you gonna compile it and then we're gonna have our discussion? What is the sequence of events?
I believe it'll be, and Joanne can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it'll be receiving public comment. So that way the public can provide any input that they have before the commissioners deliberate and then have that discussion. So we'll receive that and then we can go over your individual rankings and then compile them and have that discussion for you to make your decision.
Hey, Commissioner Tombe?
Well, God bless you, Whitney. That's
gonna be fun.
That's gonna be fun. So I guess I'm surprised because I feel like we went through this whole like evaluation criteria process and the whole commission agreed. So I'm a little bit shocked that this is changing, but it is what it is. What I wanted to know is it possible for us to actually split, or I guess this is more a question for the chair, to split that agenda item into two so we can have a submission portion at the beginning, the first item, before we even do minute approvals, so we can submit the information and Whitney can aggregate it, in real time during the meeting. And then that way, when we get to the actual conversation, that information will be collated, because my concern is that we're going to be waiting for a while for that to happen. So if we can create any semblance of a buffer in real time, it would still take place in the meeting, but just so that there's not, we're not like waiting for a while. And I have a feeling a lot of our attendees will also be coming back for that meeting. So I just want to be mindful of everyone's time as well.
If I might, Commissioner Tombe, we agree with you 100%, and any efficiencies that we can create through agendizing items, we will do so. But I think I need to vet that further with the city attorney and clerk's office just to be safe. So we will do our best to make sure that the agenda is efficient for everyone. And of course, I want to thank Whitney and Rochelle for all the work that they've put in for this evening, and the coordination and the back and forth and the upgrading people to panelists and the vast packet that was put together and vetted and redacted. It was a lot of work, and I just really want to thank them, and I want to thank the attendees as well for their patience. I know it's been a long evening, but I think it went as well as it could have for our first time. So thank you to all of you for that.
Okay, and then I guess the follow-up question, and well, 100%, that's like it was a doozy to read through. I can only imagine what it took to go through and black out every single one of those sections, as well as all the coordination, so thank you. I guess the second thing is that because we're not we're not submitting it in advance of when the agenda is coming out, is there an issue in terms of community members not having transparency into our scores? Because it's a lot to digest just like looking at it in a flash. So is there a concern about community transparency by doing it in real time?
So that's actually why we're doing it in real time, for community transparency. So that is actually why we're gathering your information at the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how like community members would be able to process all of our rankings of all of these at one meeting. So I guess I studied this for a while, so I was having a bit of a challenge and again a surprise because we had all discussed this. So I was confused why this was changing.
So, yeah, so when you say we will bring it to the meeting, we are going to have to submit that electronically somehow. Is that, no, are we going to help me? Help me.
I think what we're anticipating is to bring forward something similar to the cheat sheet that we provided you in the packet that has the organizations already developed into the tiers, but we'll add on a section for the commission's rankings, and we'll verbally go through and add in your rankings, and then we'll allow you the opportunity to look at everything and discuss from there and deliberate.
So we will like read out our forms. We won't be showing them. We will read out each score. Will it be a total for each organization, or each score by each criteria for each organization?
At this time, we're thinking it will be a total, but in all honesty, we really need to actually vet this more to know exactly how we're going to do it. And like Joanne said, we will make sure to make it as simple a process as possible.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
No, that's just a lot of scores to read out. I don't understand why we can't submit it even during the meeting electronically or something. I'm pretty confused at the change, but I guess we can go ahead and try it. There'll be a lot of time.
This is new information to us as well, and we haven't been able to like fully vet every aspect of it. So we will be asking and getting clarification on all of these aspects. And we will try and communicate as much information to you about it prior as we possibly can.
I can tell that this is also fresh for you as well. So if there is any support that we can provide to you to have other conversations or supporting conversations, please do let us know, because the efficiency of this, it's 17 organizations and 5 commissioners who are submitting scores, or I think it's 4, but that'll be a while. So.
Yeah, no, it's not optimal for sure. And again, not by choice necessarily to go this route.
Just let us know how to help.
We absolutely will. Thank you.
Yes.
So we should just plan for a very long meeting again. Okay.
Again, yes, a long meeting again, yes.
Because at that meeting, so it's not just going to be an average of the scores as we've talked about before. It will be a discussion. Once we see where our individual perceptions are, and we will have a discussion and share our thoughts and how things impact the community, so we can absorb other commissioners' thoughts on it as well. And so it's really is a team effort, and not just sitting and doing it mechanically. So hopefully we'll come up with the right answers. There's no wrong answers. There's no perfect answers, unless we had enough money for everything, which we don't. And so we will do the best that we can, and we hope that the community will support us. And I know that the commissioners are very, they care a lot, and they look at a lot of different aspects. Commissioner Begor?
So will there be, will we have the budget? I mean, the last time we did it, we said we ranked them. We're not going to rank them this time. So we'll just.
No, so the things have changed, and the council has given us a range for a budget of $70,000 to $90,000. So now we know. So we have a target.
Okay.
Which is very helpful. I mean, that was a huge step for us to get them to identify that for us.
And there's $182,000 in requested grant funding. So, you know, there could be some creative moves forward about, you know, so just consider that, you know, that when you're making your decisions as well.
Sure.
You know, doing your own deliberation, come with that information as well. Prepared to speak to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any more questions on that? Or comments? Okay, I think we're done with that action item, which was a big agenda item, which was a big one. Thank you, staff, for all of your work, and commissioners for all of your review. That was a lot of information. Let's go to agenda item number 3, staff and commission reports.
So I do have a brief, very brief, and I will read it very quickly, director's update for you all. So here we go. Everybody can see that, I hope. Right, so the county continues to offer free COVID testing at Cupertino Senior Center with upcoming appointments on March 17th from 9:30 a.m. to 3:45 p.m. More information is available at the Santa Clara County website at sccfreetest.org. The county has entered the red tier as of Wednesday, March 3rd. Under this tier, the county has aligned with the state guidelines. The significant changes include that games and team competition are allowed, but groups must have parents sign an informed consent form regarding the risk of participation. For soccer, weekly testing is also required. If most participants are under the age of 13, only the coaches will need to be tested. In addition to that, indoor activities are allowed but limited to 10% of maximum capacity. Indoor gatherings are now allowed but limited to 3 households. Singing, shouting, chanting, and cheering are not permitted indoors. And the restrictions have not changed for playgrounds, picnic areas, or outdoor activities from the purple tier. Here are our current program participation numbers for February. As you can see, still very popular. All things that are being offered out at the sports center and the golf course, as well as our free and fee-based virtual classes. And then Lifetime is continuing to offer their camps classes and private lessons. The Rancho Rinconada Recreation and Park District City Work Program item was brought to City Council on Tuesday's study session for the council to discuss and decide on next steps. The council were presented with 3 options: to proceed with a possible acquisition, to not proceed, or to delay consideration. And the council decided on option 3, to delay their consideration of the possible acquisition to allow for engagement and long-term planning for aquatic facilities in the city, and until Rancho Rinconada board completes their strategic vision and outreach and makes their own recommendation. We're very excited about the virtual Big Bunny 5K for 2021. Run, walk, or hop a 5K from your home, local park, or favorite trail between April 3rd to 11th. Registrations are $20 per person, $5 additional to mail out your packet. Includes a t-shirt, race bib, water bottle stickers, and bunny ears. The packet pickup will be held at the Quinlan Community Center on April 1st from noon to 3 and April 2nd from 2 to 5. For more information and to register, please visit cupertino.org/bigbunny5K. The California Parks and Recreation Society District 4 recognized outstanding accomplishments of Parks and Recreation professionals and departments in February of 2021. Congratulations go to the following: the TEDx Youth at Torrey Avenue program for winning the Award of Excellence, Maria Lopez, Jim Cunningham, and Tim Peterson in recognition of their volunteer services at the Cupertino Senior Center, #Cupertino Cares for the Key to the Community Award, and Barbara Banfield, Brian Gathers, and Gail Seeds on their Professional Merit Awards. Barbara was the naturalist out at McClellan Ranch and had worked for the city for almost 35 years, retiring at the the beginning of February. Her legacy lives on in the Environmental Education Center, Bear Blacksmith Shop, and all things related to the McClellan Ranch Preserve. Brian is the Public Works Supervisor responsible for the Grounds Division, which maintain the 18 parks and multiple fields throughout the city. With 23 years of service, Brian's continued commitment has established him as an essential to the Parks and Recreation operations. And Gail Seeds, Parks Restoration and Improvement Manager. With 12 years at the city, Gail has lent her leadership and expertise to a variety of projects, including the Stephen Creek Corridor Trail, Environmental Education Center, All-Inclusive Playground, and Parks and Recreation System Master Plan. During the previous meeting, the commission requested information regarding the pedestrian bridge location connecting Ragnarok Creek Trail to Wilson Park. This exhibit shows the current plan for the proposed pedestrian bridge, including a new path leading to the bridge along the back of the baseball field through Wilson Park. You can see that in the yellow. The chart above is a summary comparing the actual revenues to the adopted budget for the fiscal year 2021 up until December 30th. The department has taken in about 40% of the projected revenue for the current fiscal year. Using 50% as the baseline comparison, the reductions in revenue are due to the continued closure of all indoor and outdoor rentals and the reduction in programs, classes, and camps offered. However, these reductions are being partially offset by the increased revenue from the Sports Center and the Blackberry Farm Golf Course. And looking at the department's expenses, we're at about 39% compared to the overall budget. And using the 50% baseline comparison again, the savings are due to the 4 current full-time vacancies, reduced costs for part-time salaries, materials, and contract services from building closures, cancellation of summer and winter events, and the reduction in programs offered overall. And finally, the city is calling on its residents to reaffirm their commitment to protecting of all of us by signing a pledge to continue to wear masks, physically distance, wash your hands, avoid gatherings, and more. Join the hashtag Cupertino Cares team in continuing to keep our community safe and healthy by taking this pledge. Each pledge from now through March 31st enters you into a raffle to win a free family care package from the city, which includes 4 reusable face masks pictured here. The winners will be notified Tuesday, April 6th. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the director? Commissioner Begor.
A quick question, Director. You had mentioned that the outdoor in the parks, they're still in the purple zone. Can you expand on that just a bit?
Sorry, they are in the red zone. Their numbers have just not changed from the purple. So the capacity, so it's 3 households. Yeah, so 3 households can use the picnic sites. The same capacities that were in the purple tier are still the capacities at the playgrounds. 3 households can use the basketball courts at the parks, those types of things.
Okay, so the capacity is still at the purple level.
Yeah, there's no change in capacity, right?
Okay. Okay, great. Just wanted to check that. Thank you.
Commissioner Tambe.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment on the folks who won the awards. I think that's really fantastic. I've worked most closely with Gail and Barbara, but I know all 3 are really, really deserving. And never once have I they go above and beyond. This is not a 9-to-5 role for them, and they've all been really, really committed to the city. So it's really inspiring, and I'm glad that they've been recognized for their hard work, because, I mean, Barbara's basically lived there, and Gail was available. I mean, I was on calls with her at 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 1 a.m. sometimes, figuring out the master plan. So all 3 of them are extremely deserving, and I'm glad that they got recognized, and I hope they're an example to everyone else, because they are such great role models. The other thing that I just did kind of want to flag is that the commission had made a recommendation to City Council that the Rancho Recanata special district, the recreation facility, should be incorporated into the city, and that is not what the City Council went with. They actually went with a 3rd option that we weren't presented with either. And so I guess I was curious, when we had gone through that agenda item, we specifically had asked that we be able to review the presentation that was going to be made to City Council. And I was curious as to why that didn't happen, and then also why a commission representative wasn't allowed to be a part of the presentation to City Council, but a member of staff at the Rancho Rinconada Special District was.
I don't know if I can answer all of those questions, but I will do my best to attempt. For timing reasons, I think it was difficult to bring back, a presentation to you all. We've had a lot of special meetings lately and just a lot on our plate. I feel like the option to wait was presented to you. That was my recommendation during our meeting in October, was to wait and see what would happen from the Rancho board moving forward. Carol did make herself available to the council as a representative of the commission for that evening. And I know that Commissioner Tombe, you also, made yourself available, and I appreciate that. So I did my best to represent the feelings and the context around your decision. And so I think that's all that I can really talk about without going into too much detail, because it's not agendized.
Okay, thank you. We can't hear you.
Are there any other questions? Yeah, my monitor yells at me and says, "You're muted." Are there any other questions for the director? And are there any other commission reports?
I went to the special meeting on Tuesday around the Rancho Rinconada issue, and I think it would be, I'm glad that it's postponed and not squashed, but I do want to make sure that we are communicating factually accurate information, and that's being shared with the community members, specifically who are in that area. I don't want them to be misinformed. So I hope as this progresses, we make sure that we're being really accurate in the way that we're conveying this information, because there was a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but there are a couple of folks in the comments that were sharing information that just wasn't accurate. So I look forward to sharing. I wanted to share that out to the commission, because I know that this is the opposite of what the commission had decided.
Okay, did anyone, there probably wasn't a mayor's meeting yet since our last meeting, because it's moved out now. So I'll just share that I also attended the special meeting for the Rancho Rinconada district, and the council did note that I was there and allowed me to comment on the presentation and the recommendations, and there were some questions that were kind of left hanging, so I offered some additional information about that as well. So I guess that's all I have on that. Okay, I guess that's it for commission and staff reports.
Oh, sorry, I have one more.
Okay.
The Cupertino Teen Commission finished their essay contest, and there were a couple winners selected, which is exciting because there was actually prize money associated with that. And I'm going to pull up the names really quickly, so just give me a minute. Oh no, that was the wrong email. I just, it's nice for them to hear their names, so I apologize for I should have had this ready. I apologize for the delay, but I do. Okay, there we go. So the essay winners, again, the theme was how can we make Cupertino better? And the winner was Victoria Hunt, and her essay was around sustainability, and she proposed adding a 0.05 fee on plastic produce bags and banning their use in Cupertino. And the runner-up was Emma Koch, I believe. I apologize for if I didn't pronounce that correctly, who proposed creating a tutoring program where high schoolers could tutor elementary school students. So congratulations to both Victoria and Emma on their great essays, and to all of the applicants who submitted essays towards the competition.
Super, thank you. Okay, let us move on to agenda item number 4, future agenda setting.
So just as a reminder, we have a special meeting, March 24th?
Yes.
Okay, at 6 p.m. which will be basically our normal March meeting with normal items that we discussed at our last meeting. So I don't know if there's any other discussion that you want to have around that, but.
Well, so can we just list the items? So we're going to be really consolidating the strategic items. So that's going to be a big piece of that meeting. What are the other items? Can we just go over what else we're going to be doing there? At least tentatively, we know things are subject to change, and we won't bet our mother's farm on it.
Of course, you're asking me, and I didn't have this pulled up. Okay, so I got it now.
Well, while you're pulling that up, bet your mother's farm.
Yeah, you've never heard? Don't bet your mother's farm on it.
No,
I'm aging myself. Has anybody heard of that?
No, I've only heard about, putting your first child up. It's collateral, and some days I want to.
I guess it's don't bet the farm on it.
Okay, well, way too much fun at this point at 10:15 at night. So yes, we will be doing the prioritization for the strategic plan amenity improvements for the park. And then I believe we'll do the quarterly update on the work program and ongoing items. So that's kind of a meaty one as well. And then I think we were considering having the DOLA sites that were recommended for conversation and evaluation, the potential next DOLA sites. We need to delay on the Jollyman for the fall for the April meeting, so that will get pushed out a bit.
What was that on Jollyman that we're delaying?
We're delaying it.
Delaying what?
The update to you all.
On Jollyman, on the inclusive playground?
Correct.
Okay. I just wasn't sure what aspect of Jollyman. There's a lot of things that go on out there.
You're right. On the all-inclusive playground update. That will be in April.
So that'll be in April. Commissioner Tambe.
I have the worst eye twitch, so I apologize. I know that we're allowed to recommend potential new things here, right? So I know that we've had a lot of special meetings, and I actually do anticipate that the commission actually for the next couple of years will need additional meetings like this. So I'm actually wondering if maybe it's worth it to, one of the community members had actually said like, oh, I didn't know this was happening, and I didn't know we were talking about this. And we see a difference between attendance in our main meetings and attendance in these special meetings. And just for like I don't know, I think it's just really important that the community have like a normalized cadence to see if there's a way that we can modify the Parks and Recreation Commission code to reflect 2 meetings a month rather than 1 meeting a month, because it's easier to, I just want to see if it's possible to create that. So maybe adding that as a future agenda item, not something that's really in this next 6-month span, but something for us to look at so we can make sure that community members are not left out of conversations when they happen. And staff can plan.
Yes, we've definitely had a lot on our plate, and I don't see it getting less. Sorry, Joanne.
Still happy to be here.
That's good. That's good. Has it been a year? Did you?
Not yet. Nope, 8 months.
Not yet. Close. Very close. Okay.
So the way that this works, and I'm not a stickler for, pomp and circumstance, but you make a motion to add it and then someone seconds it and that gets it onto that.
Cool. I move to add the
Sorry.
I move to add an agenda item to review a potential addition of a second regular Parks and Recreations Commission meeting every month.
So an adjustment to the Muni code for the meeting schedule.
What she said. That was my motion.
And are you proposing that, sorry, we could get a second, and then, is there a second? I'll second it so we can have a discussion about it. Are you, you're proposing that at some point in the future? Yeah, so that's not necessarily next month, it's not imminent. It's just, we'll put it on, so the motion, we'll put it on the list of those items, TBD, to be determined when we would discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we
Yeah,
have a vote?
I don't believe it requires a vote. It just requires the motion in a second, and now it'll be onto that ongoing list of
It basically, any future agenda item requires 2 members of the commission to get it on to the tickler list.
Okay.
We're trying to be rule followers here as much as we can.
We're doing our best.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we pretty much know what's happening at March 24th. April, we're definitely will be doing a lot of community funding grants.
Well, and April 1st is the meeting, so there is not a whole lot of time in between the March 24th and the April 1st meeting. So we will be feverishly working on minutes to get that published and out to you all.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I think that is our full agenda, and I move to close the meeting. Thank you. Adjourn the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.
Bye.